acclimating to the NHL and being out here?
Yeah, it's been a great experience the last few weeks. Been to be here and just learning so much, learning something new every day, and I think that's big for my development for sure.
You mentioned during development camp that Wes Clark told you to stay hungry, keep pushing, and never look back. So how did his words kind of inspire you for the rest of the summer and prepare to coming back here?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a big motivator of mine. I think it's always that kind of mindset, even now, like still keep hungry, still want to accomplish more things and as a team and individual. So there's so much more to accomplish though, and that's just the right mindset all the way through and to continue to be.
Obviously, playing a 10th game tonight would mean you're here for months. Any thoughts or emotions on that?
Yeah, if I get the opportunity, that's very special. Obviously, it's just a number though. It doesn't really change anything for me. Just going to continue to play my game and just try and help the team win as any way I can.
In all honesty, when you go back to like even development camp, was this ever a thing in your head that this could happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe it wasn't very realistic, I guess, but I think like there's been examples in the past. So I mean, maybe you go to an NHL training camp, your goal is to stay as long as you can, and that's just always been my mindset, just stay one more day, just keep surviving. So yeah.
Does this mean you have to buy the rookie dinner now?
Yeah, I've heard of that in the past. So we'll see when that is, but definitely expecting it at some point here.
We got Tristan will be in net tonight, and then Kindel will be playing. So obviously, I think it's close into his 10th game. For us, this is it's another checkpoint. I think there's been a lot of checkpoints. As we've gone through, going back, even just through training camp. This is another one. We're going to be continuing to evaluate. We're going to be continuing, to work with him and using all departments and all resources we have here to make sure that everything we're doing is the best thing for him now and for the future.
How would you describe Ben's personality maybe off the ice, or what it's like been working with him?
It's been great. I think he's a guy who really wants to learn. I think he's very driven. He'll ask questions. I think there's and I say this in a good way, there's a quiet confidence. I think there has to be, if you're an 18-year-old playing in this league. But I think you see, and I think that shows in his game. But I think he's also I think there's a lot of humility there too in this young man who he knows like he's just going to come and work and not take anything for granted. And he's been showing that there, I think from the first day. Like I don't think there's ever been a practice, or a game where I feel like he's out there and taking anything for granted. And I think that's probably one of the things that's got him to this point where now again hitting another checkpoint with him. So.
It would seem he's played fairly well through the first 9 games. How difficult were those conversations, or how in depth were they with Kyle about keeping him around?
I don't know if difficult would be the word. I'm saying I would not use that word. I would say it's been, I think it's been consistent in terms of the conversations. I think it's been, constantly, evaluating. These are, I think anytime you're talking about like, these young players, it's something that we obviously take very serious because it's, we're looking at them now and we're also looking at them, in the future. And so I think the conversations, they've been consistent. That would probably be the best word I could use to describe it, and they'll continue to be.
Dan, in particular, leaning on your own developmental experience, younger players here, what about Kindel's two-way play has really struck you? He's not just an offensive player, is he?
No, he's shown that. That's an area too that I think it's continued to evolve, and that's been an important thing that we've wanted to see, because as you go from rookie camp to early exhibition games to late exhibition games, like the level keeps rising. And so, and then you go into even the regular season too. Like I think the games are starting to look and feel a lot different once you get into games, 10 and 11 than they did in 1 and 2. Teams are still really kind of formulating their plan and formulating their identity, and so things tighten up. And so, it's something that obviously we've been looking for, is like, how is he going to continue to evolve and continue to handle those things? And then from a defensive standpoint, I think what's natural for him is some of his defensive instincts. I mean, I think you see those, it's probably easier to see on the offensive side, but we see those on the defensive side as well, just the reads that he's making, especially when things break down. Like it's easier when everything's clean cut, and but it's like there's breakdowns all over the ice. It's like, how do you react to those? And that's where I think a guy like him with the instincts that he has, that's where those really show. And he's done a good job with that, and he's shown that, but he's also shown the ability, to I think process the information that's being shown to him. Like things are shown on video or talked about through conversation. His ability to go out there and apply them in game, and so that's been positive as well.
Justin Brazeau had a little bit of a time here in Minnesota last year. What have you seen from him in the early goings? Obviously, a hot start for him and that line.
Yeah, I think he's. You see again, it's a massive human with great hands who's got a really good ability to get himself either open at the net front or put himself in a position to shoot. And I think he's done a good job away from the puck as well. I think he's shown that. I think defensive responsibilities, willingness to play at both ends. But I think you see obviously the goals that he scored, but it's also how he's putting himself in a position. To get free, to get open. He's got a dangerous shot from distance, and he's got a really dangerous shot anytime he's around the net, and he's shown the ability to get into both of those areas. Sure.
What did you think of the Waterspoon clone out there on the ice?
Still trying to figure out who did it. Does anybody know? Do you know?
We have our ideas, but nothing
ideas?
we can officially report yet.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I came on the ice. I thought they were like putting a logo down or something, so I was all concerned. Are we going to have to deal with this all practice? And then I got over and saw what it actually was. So
you saw some people out there putting the clone out?
No, I didn't see it. I saw when I got out there, it was already done. So whoever did it, well played. Well done.
Hey Dan, can you talk about your team
Last one for
toughness?
Coach.
Team toughness and how they stick up for each other. Is that something you've encouraged as a head coach? Is it internal? And how much will you need that against a big physical team like Minnesota tonight?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to have it. I think we've seen it. I mean, I think we always want to, we want to be backing each other up. You want to be, playing the game for each other, but then in those situations too, like you don't want to, you want to be doing it together. And so I think guys have done a pretty good job with that up to this point. It's, I'll give them credit. They're the ones out there doing it. So that's something that I think you even saw it there, last game. And, you see it there from veteran guys that nobody's going to get left by themselves. No one's going to get left behind. I think, it's something that I think you have to have. And it's been good to see.